I'm joined right now by Doublelift and CLG's manager, Mattcom, who was just taking his phone out, trying to pull a Steve, our handset, in an interview. Doublelift, you guys are, one game away from actually finishing in a good place? Is that going to happen? There might be tiebreakers. Somehow I feel like there's going to be a bunch of tiebreakers tomorrow, and then you guys will end up 7th. Like, I know that's statistically impossible right now.
Just the worst possible.
You'll be like, we didn't go into relegations, boys. Like, we did.
No. So I think probably what's gonna happen is Liquid will beat Tip because Tip has a new roster because of the hilarious Zhao Zhao drama, and so TIP will have lost the game. Right now we're in a 3-way tie with, or actually I think TIP is playing right now. But anyways, we'll probably be tied with Liquid at the end of the season. We're 1-1 with them, so we'll play the tiebreaker match, and yeah, that's gonna be, I guess, the hype match of tomorrow because it's us versus Liquid, who, like, before we lost against, but in my mind, like, we're fresh off a win. So in my mind, we're 1-0, but in reality, like, over the last 2 years, we're like 1-12.
It's funny. So, it's an interesting glimpse into how your mind works.
It's very
You're like, in my mind, we're
1-0.
Yeah.
No, I don't care. I don't really think about too much about the tiebreaker or anything else. It's just one win at a time. So first we have to beat Team 8, and then we can worry about whatever happens later. So
it sounds like what you're saying is that Team Impulse is going to give Team Liquid a boost to a second-place tie.
All right. This interview's over.
Kind of like a rankings boost. Either way, okay, so that's happening. Now, I do want to get Mattcom involved here. Mattcom, I don't know if I've ever interviewed you before.
No, sir.
And that's evident by the fact that you're holding your mic way too low.
I know.
Needs to go up near the chin. There we go, yeah. Okay. So who are you?
I am the general manager of CLG, player manager for the League of Legends team, and I manage all of our teams to one degree or another. Sometimes, or we have individual player managers for certain teams, but I interface with them. I also produce all the graphics assets and just kind of set things up and make sure things are moving along.
Yeah. So it sounds like you wear a lot of hats.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But we're getting more and more people into the organization to help wear some of these hats in the areas that I am not necessarily, the strongest at.
Yeah. Like art, for instance.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah.
I am #1 artist NA. Come on, man.
Wow. So you think that you're better than Nips, for instance?
Oh, no, she's great.
Okay.
She's awesome, by the way.
All right. Because you said you're #1 artist NA, and then you're...
I thought she was EU.
Oh, no, she's NA.
Okay, well, we'll have to fight Highlander style.
What about Sade?
Who?
Sade?
Oh,
Did you say who?
No, I can't hear.
Okay. Yeah, because you said best artist NA, and so that would imply that you're better than Sade.
No.
Okay.
I'm best scrub artist NA.
Okay.
Is what I should have said.
Yeah,
I can occasionally come up with a decent idea and illustrate it to some level of proficiency, but there are so many people out there who are way better than me, including those two artists.
Okay. So Doublelift, next question here. I'd like to know, how does Mattcom's art affect you and your play on the team?
Well, we try to draw inspiration from Matt's art when we play, because there's always a deeper level of meaning in each of his pieces.
Okay.
So on the surface level, you might think that it's just a what was the last one? It was Aframu as a female because he was Morgana. Or that wasn't the last one. That was a while ago. Yeah, whatever. He was Tom Kench. Isn't Tom Kench a female? Yeah, sure. Tom Framu. But before, I just remember the one that strikes out to me is Afro, gender swapped, looking like Morgana. And that just made me look at Aframu a lot differently.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
In game?
In game, out of game, anything, dude.
Yeah.
I just look at him different. And yeah, usually it'll be fun. We used to have this, like, I guess a tradition of coming home, and honestly, most of the time we would have lost before. But when we won, we'd be like, dude, Matt's going to be home doing the victory sketch. And then he'll say something along the lines of nice job or good shit. And we would take bets on which one he would say because he'd be like so into his art. But he'd always be like, good job, guys. And that was a CLG tradition back when Seraph was on the team.
Yeah.
So we probably accomplished that about 8 times, that split.
Yeah. Now, would Seraph give Mattcom a hug afterwards?
I don't think Seraph knows how to give a hug, just like biologically.
He hugged Aframu. He didn't hug you.
All right.
Yeah.
We fucking lost.
Maybe because he was still thinking of the Morgana Aframu sketch. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. It was the art.
Now, back to Mattcom. Mattcom, one of the things that's kind of interesting about where we're doing this interview right now is that there's some art on the walls.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. So there's some art here. Now, one of the questions I have for you is, what do you think of that art?
I think it
on
has
the-
some excellent rendering on there, some very dark blacks, excellent composition.
Yeah.
You see the circular shapes in the background complement the action movement extending from her feet, as well as the color palette itself is very,
Yeah.
very robust. You have every instance of color in this painting. Also, the pose is very questionable.
Yeah, yeah, the pose. Now, Doublelift, what do you think of the pose of her, like in this picture? Because I know that you've done a lot of art analysis lately. You were just
It
here.
looks like a Victorian era portrait, actually. Maybe some work from Van Gogh.
Okay.
My favorite
Yeah.
music composer.
I think it's strange that it's kind of like an upskirt shot, but that's just me.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
one way to put it, yes.
It seems kind of lewd. Now, Mattcom, what is it like managing Doublelift?
It's a delight.
Yeah?
He's awesome. He actually pushes people beyond their traditional
Beyond their limits?
standards. No.
So they kind of break
Sure.
down, is what you're saying.
He makes sure that people step it up,
Okay.
which is really good. He's a motivating force on the team at all times, and his attitude and way he communicates with the team has only gotten better over time.
Yeah.
So he's an integral part of the team, not just in terms of his play, but in his presence as an individual amongst many.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say it's only gotten better over time.
Yeah. Well, these guys, they don't have a lot of experience in team sports or going to traditionally social structuring experiences like
Yeah.
college. So they have to learn on the fly, and this is a high-pressure environment, and he has done extremely well, I think.
Yeah. Has he always done extremely well, Mattcom?
Nobody's perfect,
Okay.
but we love him.
Yeah, all right. Now, Doublelift.
It's been a little angel.
Yeah, Doublelift, next question for you here. Maybe you can grab the mic.
Oh.
Now's a good time for you to grab the mic, because the next question is, what do you think of Mattcom as a general manager?
I think that's great, actually. At first, I was like, because he came on as, we had a general manager before, Kelby, aka Voldemort. Just kidding. And, Matt was his assistant manager. So Matt came in and he was doing art, and also just, he has like a really helpful personality where he just wants to help everyone do anything. So like one time my car light wouldn't work, so he like busted into my car, and I don't even know.
He busted into your car?
Yeah, I don't even think Matt has a lot of mechanical experience, but he fixed the car light for me after a lot of work. And that's just like one example of many from the very beginning when Matt just came in and he would just help everyone do everything. But yeah, I think a lot of us took him for granted because he would just like take out the trash, clean up after us, and like change our diaper.
Okay.
So
kind of like a
after
nanny.
getting used to that, you kind of just you lose a lot of
Respect for the person?
no, not respect for the person, but you're not like always every day. You're like, wow, Matt was just like really helpful in my day-to-day life. Just like everything, when things are going right, when someone's job is to help you and they're doing it right, sometimes you don't notice.
Yeah.
So, but recently, like especially with this roster, I think we're all a lot more grateful for each other because the atmosphere is a lot better, and we have like very clearly defined roles in CLG now. So we're the players, Matt's the general manager, and we have a lot of other positions as well. So
You say clearly defined, but I want to point out that Matt was just like, yeah, so I'm the general manager, the player manager, the art guy. I do all the graphics for all the promotion, etc.
yeah, but like we didn't really see him as that because he just did everything. But now he has like a lot of responsibilities. So
Now
like
he
the
does
fact that he
most
takes time
things.
out of his day to just to help us out, do random stuff, like he'll just get me Starbucks when I'm tired during scrims and stuff. I don't know. It's just like stuff that's it's really nice. Matt's just a really nice person, and he's a really helpful personality.
Okay. Now let's kind of finally loop back in to this. You guys are for sure going to the playoffs now, but in the past, the whole meme is that you guys choke in playoffs. So what are you guys doing to overcome something like that happening? And maybe we can start with Matt, because maybe that Doublelift will just say, "Oh, we're working really hard," etc.
Well, in the past, traditionally in esports, especially League of Legends esports, you have this very minimalist setup where you have 5 guys and a general manager, and that guy kind of has to be your dad, your mom, your coach, your manager, your
Art
agent,
director.
all this stuff, yeah. But when it comes to motivating the players to practice consistently and to be mindful of what they're learning and how they're doing it, as well as be aware of each other's emotions and how communication affects emotions, we have more specialized roles. We have coaches. We have a sports psych who helps us out on the regular. And then we have Tony, our strategic coach, who's dedicated solely to thinking about the game and coming up with champion picks, bans, compositions, very specific player in-game task-oriented things to do so that they're constantly improving not only their gameplay, but how they interact with each other. So now that we have a much larger spectrum of support for the players, because the pressure necessitates it, we're seeing this turnaround in this end of season.
But, I mean, didn't you have all that stuff last split whenever the choking continued?
Well, it's different depending on your background. Scarra was a great coach in many ways, but unfortunately, he didn't have the kind of coach mentality that is general to all sports, not just basketball or football, but also to esports, anything where you're working as a team. So when we got Chris in, he was more able to dial in on that, which is what we needed, which is why we selected him. He had the attributes we were looking for. We have a mind in the house who's extremely good at figuring out the game, and that's Tony. And also we have 5 other minds in the players that can help contribute to that as well. But turning around attitudes and making sure people are on task and knowing that everyone is trying and illustrating that to each other is extremely important. And that's what Chris has brought to the table, and Tony has been able to bring his specific skill set as well so that there's a division of labor that's appropriate.
Yeah. Okay, so final question over to Doublelift then. Talking about attitude, I think one of the things that happens is, again, like you guys always choke in playoffs, and then what happens is before playoffs, everybody's kind of like, oh yeah, you know, like we're a bunch of friends this time. We've never been friends before. Like we're all in a good place. And you guys choke, and then people write out like these long-winded essays, or there's interviews that come out, or like people say something on a stream about how in reality everyone actually all hated each other, and this guy wasn't doing any work, and all this kind of stuff, right? And it's not just like the Link thing, but this is constantly the case where it's like everything's fine until you guys choke at playoffs, and it's like, no, actually, it's all just been a terrible, barren wasteland. So what's actually going on behind the scenes right now?
Well, with this roster, I don't think that we put any really big priority on being friends at all, actually. We selected a roster with people who we can respect as teammates, and you don't have to be friends in order to respect each other's skill or intelligence about the game, or just their ability to support you as a teammate. Obviously, we have like the core of me, Afro, and Zion, which we've been together for like a year now. Well, actually, Smithy as well. So I guess the only real change was Eugene. But we didn't really care too much about being friends, and I think that's a really often overestimated quality of a team. It's like, oh, these guys are friends. Like, all you really need to do is respect each other as teammates, and maybe not, friendship will come later. But yeah, clearly, like, there was not respect between Link and the rest of us, and between us and Link, and that's why there's like so much animosity. So I think as long as we have a functional team, which was pretty hard to get before without Chris, we'll just have respect for each other as teammates, and that's all that really matters, because we can have bad relationships with each other outside the game or outside of practice, and that won't ever affect how we practice together, or it shouldn't. It should be like really mitigated. I'm not saying that we're not friends, by the way, or like we hate each other. I'm just saying that that's not our priority anymore, and it used to be, because everyone was just circle jerking this idea of you have to be 5 friends, like you have to get along perfectly. So.
I mean, this is strange for me to hear, because I'm having flashbacks to almost a year ago after PAX.
I got brainwashed.
When I interviewed you,
I got brainwashed.
And you said if you look at Cloud9, they're all friends. That's what we need to have on this team. And you're like,
I was wrong.
All these people with their circle jerk. I'm like, I think you started that circle jerk.
People can be wrong. Hey, I didn't start the circle jerk. I got that idea from someone else. You think I'm that creative?
Who?
I don't know. I'm not going to name names.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Finally, Mattcom, love to know if you have any shout-outs for the fans out there.
I'd like to thank our sponsors, Razer, iBuyPower, G2A, NZXT, Twitch, and DX Racer. Yo, man, I'm not used to being under pressure like this.
That's hilarious. Okay.
I need the assist.
I knew I'd pick you just because it's fun to see something on the other side.
Stop trying to make me squirm.
You know how hard it is, dude.
It's so hard.
So you're only shouting out and thanking the sponsors?
Oh, yeah, no. As well as our fans
Okay.
who have stuck with us through thick and thin. Hopefully we will serve them correctly coming into this next playoffs.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for the interview. Always fun to sort of see the interactions between player and staff. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of our coverage of all things League of Legends at gamespot.com/LOL.